Do you know which car many historians call America's first muscle car? It is not the Mustang, not the GTO, but a family sedan introduced back in 1950, the Oldsmobile 88. Picture America after World War II. Brand new highways, young soldiers returning home, hungry for speed. Families needing a car that could haul the kids to a picnic, yet roar when you press the gas. GM captured that moment and built a beast hidden under a tame shell. The Oldsmobile 88 was not just a bestseller, it redefined what a family car could be. It was the first to put the legendary Rocket V8 into a lightweight frame, creating a power-to-weight ratio unheard of at the time. And that combination kicked off the entire muscle car era. Let's dive into the story of how a humble sedan became a speed legend. To understand why the 1950 Oldsmobile 88 became an icon, we need to rewind to the late 1940s, a time when America was buzzing with post-war energy. The economy was booming, the first stretches of the interstate highway system were taking shape, and car buying was exploding. GM was at the top of the automotive world, with a clear brand hierarchy: Chevrolet for the masses, Buick for the upscale market, and Oldsmobile in the middle, offering a mix of reliability and a touch of class. Oldsmobile saw that Americans wanted more than just transportation. They wanted a car that made them proud, something that felt exciting to drive. So they made a bold move: take a smaller, lighter chassis normally reserved for lower-priced models, and pair it with a brand-new engine, more powerful than anything in its class. The result was a car with the strength of a luxury model, but with agility and an attainable price. Even the name 88 felt like a promise. It sounded modern, fast, almost like the jet planes of the era. The car quickly became a symbol of post-war optimism: fresh, powerful, ready to conquer the open road. Buyers flocked to dealerships, and Oldsmobile's sales skyrocketed. Its exterior wore Oldsmobile's Futuramic styling, a term they used to describe a clean, streamlined, almost futuristic look. The smooth lines stretched from nose to tail, the rounded roof wrapped tightly over the windows, giving it a flowing, unified shape. I still remember the first time I saw an 88 in person. What struck me most was the front end, a thin, wide grille spanning the width of the car, framing the shiny Oldsmobile emblem like the tip of a speeding arrow. One of the most charming details is the rocket ornament on the hood. Small but powerful, it was like a promise that there was power waiting underneath. Body styles were plentiful: the compact two-door club coupe, the practical four-door sedan, and the holiday convertible for those who wanted to turn heads on a weekend drive. The rounded rear fenders and neatly integrated taillights gave the car a refined yet jet-age character. What I love most is that despite its upscale appearance, it does not feel intimidating. Standing next to it, you feel invited to drive it, as if the car is daring you to see just how quick it can go. And that sense of connection was key to the 80s success. It felt like a car made for you. Open the door of the 88 and you step into a different world, a blend of 1950s comfort and aviation-inspired design. The cabin is wide, with a full-width front bench seat, easily accommodating 3 adults. Sitting down feels like settling onto a firm, well-built couch that holds you in place. I still remember the first time I sat in an 88. The solid thunk of the door closing told me I was in something substantial. In front of you sits a round, Art Deco-style instrument cluster with a large, easy-to-read speedometer. The big 2-spoke steering wheel proudly wears the Oldsmobile emblem at its center. Controls are neatly arranged, from the optional AM radio to the heater and fan switches. Back in 1950, these were luxury touches, not standard fare. The hand-crank windows roll smoothly, and the light-colored headliner makes the cabin feel airy. The smell of leather and metal mixes in a way that instantly transports you back in time. What stands out is that despite being a performance-oriented model, the 88 still remembers its duty as a family car. The rear bench offers space for kids and luggage for a weekend picnic. And here lies the reason why the Oldsmobile 88 became a legend: the engine under its hood. The power plant Oldsmobile chose was an all-new V8, far more advanced than anything in the affordable car segment in 1950. Displacing over 300 cubic inches and using a modern overhead valve OHV layout, it produced performance numbers that left the aging flathead V8s in the dust. Its rated output was about 135 horsepower, a figure that may sound modest today, but made the 88 one of the fastest sedans in America in 1950. The standard transmission was a 3-speed manual, but the real breakthrough was the optional 4-speed Hydramatic automatic, something competitors didn't yet offer. This combination made the 88 not just easy to drive, but impressively quick, 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 12 to 13 seconds, faster than nearly anything in its price class. What drivers loved most was the excellent power-to-weight ratio. With its light A-body chassis, the car surged forward eagerly when you pressed the gas, its deep V8 rumble filling the cabin. Driving an 88 felt both smooth and thrilling. You could take the whole family to church on Sunday morning and still line up for a drag race that afternoon. Owners quickly discovered just how much potential this car had. They installed 4-barrel carburetors, performance camshafts, and even loud exhausts to let the engine breathe. The result was street 80s that could outrun nearly anything, far surpassing the factory numbers and quickly earning a reputation as kings of the stoplight drag. This power surge had real consequences. By the early 1950s, several states reported an alarming rise in high-speed accidents and pointed fingers at these new too-fast cars. In some regions, lawmakers even considered lowering speed limits just to tame cars like the Oldsmobile 88. Its social impact had gone far beyond what GM ever expected. Even GM grew concerned. Internal notes suggest they worried that the 80's power might get ordinary drivers into trouble if they were not careful at high speeds. But instead of dialing it back, GM leaned into the performance image, marketing the 88 as a car for those who wanted excitement. It became a dream machine for an entire generation of American youth. In NASCAR's very first season, in 1949, the 88 took multiple wins, showing that its power was no marketing gimmick. By 1950 and 1951, it was dominating the Grand National Circuit, with drivers like Bill Rexford and Red Byron bringing home championships and putting Oldsmobile at the top. The success didn't stop there. The 88 also competed in the grueling Carrera Panamericana, a multi-day race across Mexico notorious for extreme heat, rough roads, and dangerous mountain passes. Yet the 88 finished strong, proving its durability as well as its speed. These victories didn't just boost Oldsmobile's reputation, they made the 88 the car every young gearhead dreamed of owning. The most remarkable part? Many of these race cars were only lightly modified production models, meaning you could walk into a dealership and buy almost the same car that had just won on Sunday. This win on Sunday, sell on Monday effect drove customers straight to Oldsmobile showrooms. As the Oldsmobile 88 conquered racetracks, its image quickly spread into popular culture. One of the clearest examples is the song Rocket 88, released in 1951, widely regarded as the first rock and roll record ever made. Its lyrics celebrated the car as a symbol of speed, freedom, and the joy of driving. This turned the 88 into a star, not just on the road, but on the radio. Street drag racing culture exploded at the same time, and the 88 was often the car to beat. Many stories tell of how you could recognize an 88 from blocks away by the deep rumble of its engine before a race. Parking lots and quiet suburban streets became impromptu drag strips, with cheering crowds watching these cars prove their dominance. Beyond music and racing, the 88 showed up in movies and advertisements, portrayed as the emblem of post-war prosperity. For many American families, owning an 88 was a statement, proof that they had made it in the new era. Looking back, the 1950 Oldsmobile 88 was the very first piece of what would become the muscle car puzzle. The lightweight chassis plus powerful engine formula, pioneered by Oldsmobile, became the blueprint for an entire generation of 1960s muscle cars. The 1964 Pontiac GTO, the Chevy Chevelle SS 396, the Buick GS, and even the Dodge Charger all followed the trail blazed by the 88. Many automotive historians call it Muscle Car 0.5, the car that laid the groundwork before the term muscle car even existed. The 80s influence went beyond engineering. It shifted American buyers' expectations. Cars were no longer just for commuting. They were supposed to be exciting, powerful, and fun to drive. This forced other automakers to respond, igniting a horsepower race throughout the 1950s and 60s. Today, the 1950 Oldsmobile 88 is a sought-after collector's piece. Original holiday coupes and convertibles command high prices at auctions, often reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Owning one is not just about having a vintage car, it's about holding a piece of history, the moment America first linked speed with freedom. The Oldsmobile 88 was more than just a car. It was the spark that lit an entire era. It proved that a family sedan could deliver thrilling performance and laid the groundwork for the muscle car boom of the 1960s. Every time I see an 88 in person, it feels like watching the birth of America's speed dream. And what's amazing is that over 70 years later, the 88 is still spoken of with respect by enthusiasts. It reminds us that power and emotion can go hand in hand, and that sometimes the biggest revolutions begin with a simple idea. Give drivers a car that makes them smile behind the wheel. Have you ever seen an 88 in real life? Share your memories or thoughts about this car in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories about legendary cars from America's golden age.